Good morning. I think we got the equipment ready. So we'll begin with our moment of silence. Okay. Ordinarily, we introduce a new resident now, but she has not moved in yet. So we're going right straight to Felicia.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. First thing I wanted to do is to thank everyone who was involved in the interview process. I think it's just a wonderful way that everybody has their input. So I appreciate you coming to the presentations, going to all the little events and meet and greet, and for your input. So I'm sure Pam will have more to say on that, but thank you very much for everybody that participated. Other things, I sent email, Stephanie sent out an email a few weeks ago to tell you about the Rockbridge Area Health Center and how they are not going to renew their lease as of June 30th. I know that's very upsetting to lots of folks, upsetting to us. This will give us maybe some other opportunities in the future. But as I had mentioned, and Rebecca's going to come up here and tell us a little bit more, we do have available services from Aventis, which was Premier Geriatrics, our medical director practice that sees residents in the Borden and the Webster Center. They can be available here. She'll give you a little bit of information, but Adam and I, when we had coffee last week, did talk to Dr. Baracco, and they are willing to either come to a residents association meeting or have a separate meeting so they can give us more information on the services that they provide and how that will work. So just wanted to tell folks about that. Another thing is an update, just very briefly, as I have mentioned, and is built in the capital budget, we will be replacing the resident alarm system and the fire suppression system across campus, both very big projects. Typically, you would think those were two projects, but some of the initial hardwiring equipment that was put in when the community was built is intertwined with the fire suppression, and those need to be separated. So it's going to be a little bit more involved than we realized, and more to come on that. But what I want to tell folks, there might be times during this exploration phase and doing an inventory that either facilities or IT staff or both might have to come into your apartments and cottages to do inventory. You will be notified beforehand. No one's going to just show up when you're in your pajamas. So we will let you know. Other things. Okay. The red curbs, the facility staff painted the curbs in front of the Borden Center. There is red and there is yellow. Yellow is right in front of the doors. You can pick up, can't park there, pick up, drop off at the yellow curb. The red curb, we have to leave free. You can't pick up, you can't park, you can't leave your car. No cars. The emergency folks have told us that. And we will get an email out with that, just confirming all that information, but I wanted to relay that. And then the last thing is the mixer at 3:30 this afternoon in the library. There's going to be a little bit of mixer because the Kendall Corporation, the TKC board is here. They are meeting. And my understanding, this is the first time they've met at a community. They typically meet up in Delaware. They're going to go to all the communities and meet, and we're the first one. So they will be there at a mixer at 3:30 if you come want to meet the folks there. That's all I have. Thank you.
Good morning. We've run out of candidates. And I do not have an announcement today. I said to Lee, I said, "Are you sure you want me on the agenda?" She said, yeah, you have to say something. And I do have a few things to say. This has been a long process and we are getting to the end phase. As you recall, we began this in December. We had well over 100 applicants. We've spent the last few months systematically winnowing them. And then over the last couple days, you met the 3 finalists. And I think agree that it was a good group. It was a good group. And as Felicia said, I cannot thank you enough for your sustained interest in this process. All of the candidates were blown away by the residents here, as I knew they would be. They were also impressed by the staff and by the board, frankly. I think all but 2 of the board members were able to meet some of the candidates, which is impressive. And thank you for turning in your comment cards about the candidates. We are going through those now, and they will be very helpful. And I want to thank Lee for moderating the Q&As, which I think went very well, and for the resident council members who chatted with the candidates at the end of their very long day. It was a nice sort of capstone to a tense day to have just a casual chat with residents. That was really great. And thanks to Vic Crane for making sure that we had a lovely talk show set up here and for miking up the candidates who were somewhat nervous, and that really went well. And then finally, I would like to thank the weather committee. I don't know who you were, but you know, in my fondest dreams, I imagine candidates coming here in April with the redbuds and the dogwoods and the blue skies. And, you know, we had that for almost all the candidates. So good work. The hailstone on Monday night, I think we don't need to repeat that if we do this again. Okay, so when will we have a decision? Soon, I hope. The search committee is meeting this afternoon to begin our deliberations, and we will take into account the feedback we heard from the residents, from the staff, and from the board. Once we reach a decision, I will call a special meeting of the board, and we will put forward our recommendation. And the board will then discuss the decision, which is theirs, and we hope reach a consensus. We've heard a lot the last couple of days about the consensus process, and you all know how that goes. So there are several steps after that, including reference and background checks. And then we will need to structure the offer and make the offer to the candidate. Sometimes there are negotiations after that. So it's hard to predict, is this going to take one day or several? It could be several weeks before we have an announcement. I hope it's not that long. Believe me, I will let you know the moment I can. And then there's the next phase after that. So after we have a candidate who has accepted our offer, we then need to think about welcoming that person to this community. And we will need your help again. They will need to get to know us better than they do now. And I know that I can count on you again for your help in making sure that we onboard the new CEO in Kendall style. So thanks again.
Good morning. Can you all hear me? All right, what a week. And it's only Wednesday morning. We're in here again for another meeting. It's been a true privilege to be a part of the CEO search and process. So I wanted to first of all express my gratitude for that and my gratitude for you all for being so welcoming. We are still conducting interviews for a marketing associate, so we should have an offer hopefully soon, but we do have at least one more candidate to interview for that. In the meantime, Kevin has been working really hard, and I would love for you all to give him a round of applause. It is well deserved, so I'll turn it over to Kevin to let you know what he's been up to.
Good morning. Okay, since the last Residents Association meeting on March 19th, I've had 10 tours, try-its, and meetings with folks from Cambridge, Maryland, Cookeville, Tennessee, Vallejo, California, Keswick, Virginia, Vienna, Virginia, Monroe, Virginia, Fairfield, Virginia, and 3 different couples from Lexington. All of that resulted in 2 new waitlist memberships, one couple from Keswick and one couple from Lexington. That brings us to 13 new waitlist members year to date, which takes us to 221 total, and 66 of them are on the ready list. Upcoming move-ins, May is going to be a busy month. We have a new resident moving in May to 35 Sycamore, a man from Stanton, 99 Sycamore, a man from Keller, Texas, apartment 7, a man from Lexington, and apartment 202. The closing for that has actually already happened, but the woman from Wisconsin who's going to move to 202 is really coming in the month of May. And then we have apartment 125 will be occupied starting in July by a woman from California. Apartment 205 in July by a woman from Lexington. And what I'm currently marketing are 2 units, cottage 1003, which is a 2-bedroom den cluster cottage. We're anticipating an August move-in, but first we have to get it reserved. We've been working our way down the ready list. And then apartment 3 South, really just getting started on that one. We're anticipating a September move-in, but first we have to invite ready list members to come and see the place. So it's going to be a busy summer. That's it for marketing. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jen. Most of you know me by now. Says I'm next on the list on the paper, so that's what I'm going with. So hi. So a couple updates. So we had our restaurant promo day yesterday, so you can sample some of the items. We had 55 people turn out for that, and people got to mill around and socialize and taste some good food. So thank you all for coming. Our restaurant is not booked completely for this week and next week. So if you want to join us, we've got some openings Thursday and Friday of this week and next week. Groceries, I let you know we were going to be switching to an online grocery process. If you don't do online, no worries, we can still do a form. That's not a problem. But we will be moving to that come May. So I'm working on instructions and pictures and all of that, so you know exactly where to go and how to do that. We will, of course, help you if you need help with your first order. It's in Kendall Connect or Casey, and it really is pretty simple. So if you've used it to reserve a restaurant booking, if you've used it to look at the menus or any of those kind of things, grocery orders is just going to be another one of those things that's just as simple. So that's coming. Easter brunch is this Sunday, so we hope we have 294 reservations. No, that can't be right. Hold on. 194 reservations. I'm going, wait a minute, that's not right math. Sorry, 194 reservations. So there is still opening in the first session, seating. The second session is pretty full, but you know, we'll take care of you. So we'll see all of you there, hopefully. And then our next thing is we are just preparing for Mother's Day. So it will be somewhere between a wonderful Sunday normal brunch and our Easter celebration, but it will be lovely. And we're working on that menu now. And so we'll get details out as soon as we have those. Do you all have any questions for me about anything? All right, you know where to find me, and I'll see you in the restaurants. Thanks.
Good morning. Can you all hear me okay? All right, I'm just going to go down my list here. First thing, we sent an email just a few minutes ago that Dominion let us know that most of Sycamore will lose power tomorrow between 9 a.m. and noon. They're ripping out and replacing a leaking transformer. So at least they told us. The last time they usually show up in their big truck and just start demoing stuff. So tomorrow, 9 to 12, we sent the notice to all of Sycamore because the tech we spoke to could not clearly identify the limits of his work. So if you're on Sycamore, I'm telling you won't have power. If you do have power tomorrow, yay. Okay. Going down the list. Okay, Sunnyside HVAC project. It is designed, it is signed, it is funded, it is scheduled. We're about a week out from the start of that beginning. A whole new HVAC system in Sunnyside going in. The original plan and timeline I worked out with them on that was to take about 6 weeks. It's going to actually take a little longer than that because the second project that's also starting is Third Floor North HVAC system, which is the same company and a lot of the same techs. So we're going to be bouncing them between the two repairs with our internal guys, Cole and Kenny, primarily providing some help as well. The third floor HVAC project is a 2021 system that was put in for a whole lot of money. The paper went onto Felicia's desk yesterday and was approved that we're demoing that system out in phases already and replacing it. It's a very expensive system. We're doing it phase by phase because the entire replacement project is about $2.25 million, it looks like. I didn't have an extra $2.25 million laying in my account. She's very pale sitting up here. Sorry about that. Sorry. So we're phasing that across the board. What I worked out with the techs coming in and our guys is third floor right now has no heat and no air conditioning through that central system. It has completely failed. We are going to pull out the thermal expansion valves, the control boards, the compressors, and any of them that are salvageable, we're going to leapfrog forward into other floors and other stages because we can't get any of that equipment anymore. None of it's made of what was put in. So phase by phase, capital project by capital project, we'll be replacing that system with a new one. Third floor north. Sunnyside roof is also starting soon, between a week or two, depending on weather. They will be working on that. That is also the same crew that's doing Sycamore. I believe they're planning to do most of the work on Sunnyside and have some of their guys start on Sycamore. They think they'll be able to do Sycamore 2-3 houses a day. So Sycamore, they say, is a pretty easy project for those guys. And again, it's only the northwest side, numbers 4 through 106 of Sycamore that are getting new roofs in this first phase. Felicia mentioned this already. We have a new fire panel system coming in, company called ATC. They are already on site, starting a lot of their preliminary work. They are officed out of one of the unused rooms on the Borden 600 hall. So if you see guys walking back and forth with t-shirts that say ATC in Borden, we've given them a home to do a lot of their work in. It is a lot of behind the scenes tech work right now. It's mapping wiring, mapping controls, things like that. Like Felicia said earlier, to make the system easier and less expensive, they piggybacked some of the communication modules into the fire control system to use one communication. We are going to have 2 totally separate systems that each have their own communication. That way there's backup and redundancy that way. But that just means there's a whole lot of electrical and programming guys who stand around panels and scratch their heads and talk to each other. So you'll be seeing that for the next few weeks. The Washington and Lee wayfinding signage project is complete. I went to their final presentation last week. They then give their packet to their professor and everything, and then we'll get a copy for that in a week or two. I'll schedule them some things to show you all what they've recommended and what we're planning to do. There is money in this year's capital budget, well, there was. We'll see what she says is left. For us to do that, again, it will be in phases and primarily interior on this first round. The fitness flooring project is done. If you haven't gone down there, go down there and jump on the new flooring. It's nice and appropriate fitness flooring down there, and everyone I've talked to, we've gotten positive feedback on. Elevator number 2 project, the 4-day repair project took 15 days. It wrapped up 5 days ago, and last night the elevator went down again. So we've called and left some nasty messages for the company. The tech is en route today to look at it again. We think it's just low on hydraulic fluid, which is not that uncommon. After you do a full rebuild, you can get air on the lines, it can displace things and things like that. So we're hoping it's a minor thing. They also didn't put a button number 1 on one of the floors. So there's an unlabeled button. If you see 3, 2, and then nothing, that's floor 1. That's after the way. They tell me, oh yeah, we'll find you the button and send it to you. So that'll be fixed as well. But anyway, it's out of service. I have signs up today. The tech has been notified they're en route supposedly. So hopefully that will be back up and fully back up for the long term shortly. And the last thing on my list is actually Sunnyside as well. The back steps at Sunnyside, if you've walked them, Recently, you'll notice a lot of those bricks are loose and there's some pretty bad failing point work between them. That has been identified and contracted. That is going to be repaired soon as well. I don't have an exact date for that. We're waiting for no chance of freeze because we really don't want to put new mortar in and then have a freeze before it all sets up. So probably just a few more weeks, you'll see some work on the back steps of Sunnyside as well. All right, that is my list. What did I miss? Do you have any questions for me? All right, I'll call that a win. Great.
Okay, good morning. So can you guys hear me? Okay, so next Thursday, April 24th, here in Kendall Hall at 11 o'clock, there's going to be an organization come in. Their name is Senior Medicare Patrol. What this is a grant-funded program through the United States Department of Health. And they're going to be coming here to do a presentation about avoiding common healthcare scams. So what they're going to do is they're going to help you understand common types of healthcare fraud. They're going to help you recognize red flags and warning signs. And they're also going to give you some practical tips and for protecting yourself and just some personal information, okay? Protecting your personal information. The presentation should only take about an hour. And then they're also going to have a question and answer session to follow. So if you guys aren't doing anything next Thursday, it'll be a great time, great meeting. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. One other thing, Felicia had made the comment about the Rockbridge Area Health Center. So I do have a nurse practitioner that does come to my office. Her name is Rachel Wilson. She does see a few independent living residents right now, but there's always room for more. So if you guys want to stay on campus and want to see Rachel, we'll definitely have some more information for you in the weeks to come from Ventus. But if you have any questions, if you would, are interested in that service, please come see me, and I'll get you fixed up. So that's all I got.
Morning, everyone. Just wanted to give a quick reminder. So I sent out, I think that's been a couple of weeks ago, I sent out just a reminder on scams. And some of the latest stuff that we're seeing is they're coming through on your phones. So not only, are they trying to get you on your computers, they're also trying to get you on your phones as well. So that computer in your pocket is the one that we want you also to be, mindful of. And they're coming at us from all angles, so we just have to really be careful and be on our toes. The two that I sent out, they're text messages coming in. One's from the Internal Revenue Services, so they're trying to swindle you, and then the other one is toll road notices, like you owe money, you've been through tolls, so you owe us money, so. Please ignore these when you see them. If you're unsure, track us down. We'll help you. But typically, just ignore them, delete them, block them. Do not respond to them. Is the main takeaway. And again, numbers that come in that you don't recognize, that you don't have ID'd. I typically. If I know what it is, then I'll ID it on my phone so I know. And typically what I'll do is I'll put like a do not answer. So for phone calls coming in that are not ID'd on my phone, I don't typically answer. Let them go to voicemail. Again, same thing with your home phones. They're coming into your home phones. Let it go to voicemail if you're not sure of the number. You can always call them back if it's legitimate. So just remember that. And, again, not only on your, your computers in your homes, but your computers in your pockets, your smartphones, just be aware that, again, they're trying to get your information. So hang on tightly to it. Thank you, guys.
Good morning. I have 4 items to discuss. Item number 1, item number 2, item number 3, and number 4. Are there any questions about these? Anyway, the first is projectionists. We need a couple more projectionists to show the movies on Monday and Thursday. Now, this would be an excellent opportunity to add to your resume that you are a certified movie projectionist. Now, it's not very difficult to be a projectionist here at Kendall. All you have to do is show up before the movie. Now, Margaret Fletcher selects the movies for you. She then hands it over to Vic, who then inputs the disc into this big machine behind us. So this movie projection has to show up around 6:30, and there's a 10-sheet of instructions of what to do. Basically, you have to turn the lights on, lower the shades, adjust the volume, and sit down and watch the movie. There's a couple other things you have to do, but Joe Scavira is willing to give you a 3-hour class of what to do if you want to be a projectionist. Now, we need at least 2 more people. And if we have 9 projectionists, that means you only have to show up for a movie maybe once a month or 6 weeks. So it's very important that we have enough projectionists, because this program is run by the residents. If we don't have enough projectionists, we can't show the movies. So it's important we want to continue doing this. We've been doing it for many years. We want to continue. So if you have an opening in your resume and you want to be a certified projectionist, please see Joe and sign up, and he'll tell you everything else that you need to know about that. The second item is carpooling. Now, on the C&E bulletin board, we schedule buses. Now, we need at least 7 people to sign up for a bus. If we only have 6 people or less, we cancel the bus. And that poses a problem for us, because even though we may cancel the bus, there's other people here in this audience that actually drive to these events in their own car. They decided they don't want to take a bus. They've had enough of the school buses, and so they decide they're going to drive their own car. The problem is, I don't know who these people are unless I'm at the event and I see them. Is that they weren't on the bus, they must have driven. It would have been nice to know that they would have been willing to carpool some of the people that we had to cancel the bus for. So if you intend to go to an event and you decide not to take the bus, I don't know why you won't want to take a bus and drive your own car, please indicate where it says carpool. Write your name down and say you're willing to take people if the bus is canceled. Right now, we'll probably have a bus canceled on the 26th, which is the Gilbert and Sullivan event at Washington Lee. So I have to find carpools for 16 people who have already signed up, and I don't think we're going to have a driver for that. Now, if I knew in advance that those of you are going to drive, then I can just contact you and are you willing to take 2 or 3 people or whatever you have. Now, if you're going by motorcycle or moped, don't bother signing up for the carpool. But if you have a big van like Bob Lewis, he can take 15 or 20 in his car. But please, if you decide to drive, please sign up as a carpool driver and how many you can take, so that I can contact you if the bus is canceled. Now, there are only 3 bus drivers. We have that other problem. Sometimes we can't find a driver. We have Daryl. Daryl is full-time, and he's the one who drives all over the country here on medical appointments, groceries, and all that. And so when he's willing to drive at night, but then he has to take off from his full-time job. So that creates a problem for him. But he's willing to drive at night for us. We then have 2 other part-time drivers, but they're limited in their hours that they can. I think they have a 24-hour limit. So that's Lee, and they just hired somebody named Mike. So they're willing to drive at night, but it's up to them if they want to show up and drive. So we have to work this problem out. So I'm relying on you to tell me that you're willing to carpool, you're willing to take people to these events. Please sign up on the list there, and hopefully we can avoid, because the people actually, the people who sign up on the list initially are those really who don't have cars. And so when I cancel the bus, they're out of luck. They have no way of getting there. So let's consider them, because we have a significant number of people here who don't have cars and they rely on the bus to get them to these events. Next thing is the house and garden tour. The Lexington has a house and garden tour on Saturday, the May 3rd. We hope to have a bus for that. Now the tickets are $35 if you buy them in advance online. Not only do you pay the $35, then you got to pay the $5 processing fee. So we're talking about $40 if you get your ticket online. But if you wait until the day of the event, then it's $45. Now, luckily, we have Genevieve Mokel. Is she here? Viva, she's not here. Is she on? She is on the board, and she has said she is willing to sell tickets to residents here before the event. And so I will send out an email, and she said she'd be available a couple of days before the event. She'll be here in Kendall, in the library here, and she'll sell you a $35 ticket. So you have your ticket in hand when you go to the event. Not only, so that should be for people who want to take the bus, and also people who just want to drive down to Lee Avenue. And so that'd be a good opportunity that they're offering for us. So now bring hard cash. I don't think she's going to have a credit card machine with her. So I need $35 hard cash US currency. She's willing to take that, and she'll give you your ticket. So hopefully that'll work out for us. On the April and May calendar, if they're posted, please go look at the calendar and sign up if you're interested in any events. A couple of things we have Julia and Anna. They have private students, and they ask to use Kendall Hall for the students to have an opportunity to practice and play for an audience. And so you'll see that on the schedule. So please participate in that, show up along with their families for these young students who are learning to play piano, cello, etc. So we also had some students from Southern Virginia University on Sunday. They came here and they performed for us. And that's an opportunity to, once again, to engage Southern Virginia University, which we have very little contact with them, to bring them here to perform for us. We also have an opportunity, which we're still working on, for the VMI students who are musically inclined. They have a little club, they call it, because they can. It's a musical club, and they're willing to perform for us as well. So once again, we're trying to get more VMI involvement to come here to Kendall Hall to perform for us. So when you see that on the schedule, please show up and support the students from VMI, Southern Virginia University. So it's very important we do that. So as I mentioned, the Gilbert and Sullivan presentation at the Lexington Presbyterian Church, we're probably going to have a carpool. So we'll be working on that. So with those 16 people, we're going to get you in a car. So I'll be working on that the next few days. So don't give up hope on that. Thank you very much. And please continue giving me information. If you have ideas, you've been to a place, you thought it'd be a good place for Kendall to sign up to go to visit, please send me an email and we'll take that into consideration. Thank you very much.
There's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is that too many of you failed to attend last Wednesday's opening lecture by Professor Josh Fairfield on privacy, in which he explained how the use of artificial intelligence was taking our private data without our knowing that was happening. It was a bit scary, but Professor Fairfield is an outstanding lecturer, and those who weren't there are missing something that I think you ought to hear. The good news is that Professor Fairfield has 2 lectures to go. One this afternoon, 4:30, right here, and another one next Wednesday afternoon. So those of you who missed last week have 2 chances to rectify your error. This afternoon, in a lecture called Generative Adversarial Networks, Josh will discuss how all that data is being used for something else. Any questions? Thank you very much.
We actually have a slideshow for you.
Thank you, Harry. For the last few days, what we've been hearing are the candidates who have been coming here, and it's really been an interesting process. And I've tried to talk to many of you to get your impressions, because the search committee and then the board have to decide who's going to be the person who comes here. And we can look at it with our up close lens, or we can look at it with our further out lens about who would be, we hope, would be the best person to help us as we look at now in operations, but also as we go down the line. Philanthropy is one of the responsibilities of the board, because the board in turn also looks at now, but must look at down the line to the future, to make sure that we are strong economically and how we can live here and our arrangements. All of us have had to do that in our lives as well, so that we could plan ahead to have the kind of savings that allow us to live in a wonderful community like this. So the board needs to think about that too. And that's the part that philanthropy pays, is looking ahead to make sure that we have the resources to continue to provide the services. The philanthropy committee has been looking at this, and we do have some ways that we are going to be doing this. We are going to focus this year on the Jean Kibbe Legacy Society, and Harry's going to talk a little bit more about that. I knew Jean Kibbe. She was a wonderful, delightful person who came here and devoted her energy to help make this community the strong place it is. And she left a considerable amount of money to Kendall to help it continue in the future. And we are going to be letting you know more about Jean as we go on. So I'm going to actually let Harry talk more about legacy.
Thank you, Diane. And I'm glad to see nobody has left the room yet as we're talking about money and philanthropy. So plan giving or legacy giving. The important thing is to differentiate is this is for planning purposes through a state, of course, as compared to current giving, which I know many of you all support, the Fellowship Fund or the Staff Appreciation Fund, which is current giving. But we're focusing now on the Philanthropy Committee on plan giving for folks to be able to leave a legacy, and as Diane said, to be able to help the future of Kendall. So key features of plan giving, deferred gifts. The nonprofit doesn't receive anything, of course, until one's estate is being settled. It's asset-based instead of through cash or through checks. Current gifts, again, these could be stocks, real estate, life insurance, bequest, of course. Not yet. Tax benefits or the planned gifts can be significant tax advantages as you do your estate planning down the road. And it's legacy building. And again, because these kinds of gifts tend to be larger, you can leave a legacy on behalf of Kendall of what you're what you would like to support. There are a number of different funds, I named two, but we've got several that the bequest or whatever the case may be can support. One example is individual retirement accounts. I think most everybody has a traditional account, and as you know, the required minimal distribution at 70.5 is a requirement. One way to be able to support Kendall is through the qualified charitable distribution, QCD. This will benefit Kendall, of course, and it benefits the donor. It offers the same tax benefits as itemized deductions. but it also reduces the donor's tax by satisfying the donor's required minimum distribution. And also, in the future, you can provide for Kendall in this case, or any nonprofit organization, be a beneficiary of the IRA. I know a typical strategy that I've worked with in the past, that donors will provide a nonprofit as the beneficiary of the IRA, and then other assets to go to family members, as the case may be. I have a limited number of brochures that the Philanthropy Committee has redone the last several weeks. All of you all will be receiving them in your mailbox in the hopefully in the next 2 weeks is what we're looking at. But I'm going to turn this back over to Diane.
So how to go about doing this? When I first came here, within the first year, one of the things that the committee was doing at that time was holding luncheons downstairs in the restaurant to individuals just to learn more about the different funds that Kendall has and how they can be used. There's a scholarship fund for employees. There's Mary Barker gave money for an outdoor beautification program. This is something that we think would benefit everyone to learn more about. So you're going to be in, especially, we haven't done these luncheons now since COVID. So we will be organizing these luncheons for about 8 to 10 people at a time. And it's a nice luncheon served to us there. And Kendall, you don't pay for it with points. So we hope you might want to attend this. This is an information time for you to learn more about our funds. Those are the monthly luncheons. And at the end of the year, we will be hosting a very nice dinner in the restaurant for those that are Gene Kibbe Legacy Society. These are people who have actually left some money in their estate planning for that. And we have discussed in the Philanthropy Committee, are we going to set a goal or aren't we? And we've gone back and forth, and we finally decided, yes, we're going to make a leap. And in our 25th year, we are hoping that we can get 25 more people making a legacy to gift to Kendall, designating them in your will. So you will be hearing more from us. We hope you take advantage of going to one of the luncheons to learn more. And also, number one, we're going to be having a seminar here so that we can learn more about just some of the things that Harry was talking about, the different kinds of ways that might work for different people. So thank you. And we hope that we can continue on this road of thinking of the long-term stability and finances and for Kendall. Thanks.
You hear me? All right, well, it was a very good suggestion from the Wellness Committee that I come up here and just say a little bit about senior fitness testing, because if you've just moved into our community or maybe a year ago, you might not know anything about it. I don't have any firm dates, only to tell you that it is next month, so May. So we'll get those details to you once we finalized our fitness calendar. It'll also be on Casey. So we'll make sure, and I'll probably send out an email campaign as well. Okay, so I just want to tell you just a little bit about what senior fitness testing is. And first and foremost, why it's important. It's important to know your physical fitness level at any age. So if you know that, it helps you plan. What we're really hoping is it gives us a measure of how you are maintaining your functional mobility, and that leads to your independence as well. So if you are interested, I really do encourage you to participate with us. We're going to do 5 tests with you. You'll test your strength, that's upper and lower body. We'll test aerobic endurance. We'll test flexibility, upper and lower body, agility and dynamic balance. And then we have an optional balance screening that we can do as well. So we share those results with you. You are placed, it's an age group percentile normal, or norms, I should say. A lot of my folks have figured this out, that it changes every 4 years. So if you're in the 60s to 64, I have folks that say, can you wait till after my birthday so that I move to the 65? Yeah. You all are so clever. You figure these things out. So it just compares you to where, how you are competing with your age group. So we share those results. We can have a little discussion if you discover that, maybe we're not scoring as well as you'd like to in upper body. We can help with that programming. So that is one of the ways that we use the test. We evaluate and identify risk factors. Could be that if you're losing some strength, that's affecting your balance, those sort of things. It helps Victoria and I plan our programming. If we see across the board that you're not scoring well in lower body strength, then we need to make some adjustments to our programming. And I realize not all of you are using our classes, but how we can educate, make sure that whatever you are doing for your physical fitness is meeting your goals. So goal setting, sometimes I have folks that they take this test and they're competing with themselves. The next year, they just want to do better. It could be that it just gives you that data. So if my flexibility is gone down another 10%, I need to add maybe yoga, something to your fitness routine. A little shout out for yoga. And then just motivation. Sometimes, like I said, it could be you just want to beat your scores from the year before. I know some of you are competitive with your own peers. I know there's a pretty intense competition going with some of our folks with each other. And it just helps with those future plans. Okay, so I will say it is optional. Of course, we're not forcing anybody to do this, but I do think it's really valuable. So I will encourage you to do so. If you need modifications in any of these tests, we can do that. If you just want to know your strength and flexibility, you're not interested in how fast or how long you can do something, we will make those adjustments. But do consider it. We're really proud of how well you all have done over the years with this testing, and the participation. When Victoria and I got here almost 8 years ago, I think the first year we had 25 show up to do it. And I'm proud to say last year we had 70 to 80 do it. And considering how many people we have here in the community, that's a really great number. So that's it. Join me. Any questions? Yeah. Oh, great. Felicia asked, how long does it take? 15 to 20 minutes. So we'll schedule that. What happens is we do the test. We might have, we've done this so many times, we might have a pretty good indication where you fell, but we will take the time to actually rank those and then get those results to you. But the actual test, 15 to 20 minutes. Any other questions on that? Staff members that are 60 and above, we can do it for you. Unfortunately, we don't have any scales for below that, but anyway. All right. Thank you all so much.
We had a long agenda and we are done early. Anything need to come up from the floor? All right, then we really are done. See you next month.